Test, 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 test. Hello there, YouTubers. My most beloved supporters, frequent viewers, as well as as well as my my patrons, my beloved uh, beg your pardon, my patrons. It's the 20th of July, 2026, both at Australian Eastern Standard Time / Sydney time, as well as local Peking. So yeah, I guess apparently summer is summer in the northern hemisphere is about halfway through, or maybe a bit more than halfway through. Just like to kind of to chill, to do a bit of a chill stream and talk about whatever random shite that comes to my mind. um you know blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And yeah, I beg your pardon again for my for my kind of lame hair, since I had not so long ago I had shower, a rather quick, not exactly a thorough sh- um, shower. And I had not and I I dried my hair using a dryer that I brought from Sydney, Australia, all the way to China. But yeah, but apparently it's the dryer per se has, I guess, has nothing, has no major issues whatsoever. But instead, I guess due to the due to the the intrinsic nature, or the the texture, the intrinsic natural texture of my hair, every time I take a shower, um almost every time my hair seems to run a bit wild. And it gets they get kind of inflated, or maybe the local, the water may contain loads of say calcium carbonate and magnesium sulfate, or minerals that can maybe that can that might affect one's hair's shape immediately after a shower. um and yeah, but still, I didn't seem to have such sort of you know issue. um if my memory still serves, back at least back in Sydney, I didn't have such issue with my hair, with my after showering. So I'm not sure. While I was in Singapore, I couldn't recall very much of you know, from memories that um, 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 from memories that distant. So I beg your pardon, but yeah. So yeah. So I guess I kind of had have had a head start for this week, for the Monday of this week, by closing a deal. Though it's a very 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 a tiny deal, just which just earned less than 5 quid. um, but I guess it's still I guess I can see that as a slight bit of a progress, at least, since it's not exactly a stream of income from you guys, but instead it came from a client. Well, supposedly from Great Britain. So I guess at least I've started to earn just a tiny bit of money, but still not much, just 4.4 or 4.5, 4.4 or 4.5 pounds. And after the platform, um I beg your pardon, after the platform charged the transaction fees and this fee, that fee, blah blah blah, and I got just 4.4, 4.5 quid. Yeah. But yeah, nevertheless, yeah, I don't know about you guys, but yeah, it's at least I guess I have kind of managed to adapt to the scorching heat. Though I guess so far the heat here, as far as I see, I guess it seems to it seems mildly less intense, less intense than the heat that that came to visit me last year in 2025. Yeah. So back then I was sweating, and I'm sweating, I guess, a lot more than this year. And and back then last year the aircon, my aircon kind of leaked some H2O, and though it did thankfully, unfortunately, it even if it leaked some water, it still at least um, did not at least flood the room. But just caused a bit of a minor minor bit of latent concern, and that was all about it. Yeah. Well, considering its age, it's it has been working rather tirelessly, for my old man and my grandma and me, for maybe, yeah, I guess, for, yes, for more than 20 years. Um, yes. So yeah. So considering considering her age, it's a fairly, good, fairly, good performing AC, yeah, to say the least. At least, yeah, it does its job, at least most of the time. Yeah. And yeah, on the other hand, I don't know about you guys, but throughout, these years of, of fighting that wicked woman's, of fighting against that wicked woman's attempt, to take control of me, to actually ruin my life. I have learned, this brutal fact the hard way. Um, you know, quote unquote, um, hope for peace, but always prepare for war. Since, um, wars are quite commonplace. Wars occur, very commonly, at least, amongst humans, amongst, all the human civilizations, societies throughout history. And, and though only in recent years, have proxy wars started, to emerge, to come into the picture. Though, yeah, though a bit of, another a disclaimer here. I am no, I am in no wise, um, and um, at, analyzing or talking about, geo politics. I only, give you guys, I merely give you guys, my own thoughts, and, my own thoughts about, those wars based on my own, you know and fundamental cognition, say, such as, the war that's ongoing, still ongoing, Eastern Europe and in the Middle East, and, in some other places, say in Mexico, and maybe also in, in South America, and, some wars, well, from based on what I know, by, by reading books, by browsing articles on Wikipedia. Yeah, yes, there seem, um, Georgia and Georgia and Armenia and Azerbaijan. They don't seem to get along very well. There are a few, say, breakaway states in between. Those countries, sit in the Caucasus region, near, yes, near, quite close to Russia, um, and rather adjacent to Turkey, to Greece. You know, so yeah, so and the ongoing say the ongoing tensions between the street of the yes the the strait of Taiwan, from both sides, though I'm not necessarily say um well state my stand or stance, on say on which side I support or don't. Um, Still, it's at least seems a bit concerning to at least some people. Though I don't suppose they will go to war anytime soon, but still, I can feel you know the tension, yeah, and even also the tension amongst us men, all those cla- um you know um you know um you know um say quarrels, uh, disagreements, blah blah blah, arguments online, and clashing. Yeah. What else? So yeah, just so you know that usually, more often than not, your real enemies, they don't tend to reveal themselves to you. They do their best, to hide behind the scenes so that they can have the cannon. They can have their cannon fodders, their meat shields, sustaining the damage, the bangs, from the opposing side. You know, but still, I guess many, if not most NPCs, they don't realize, they just simply don't come to a realization such simple fact. They just tend to believe whatever they hear, whatever they see, both online and in real life, and they just willingly swallow the ideas, the indoctrination, the scripts, the programming, spoon fed by society, by their slave masters, blah blah blah, without questioning, even questioning for 2 seconds. So that's which is quite a terrifying phenomenon, though not surprising at all, since particularly nowadays, common sense um you know um can't seem to occur so commonly amongst human amongst most human individuals. Yeah. um so yeah, so that's you might be whoever are fighting against an enemy or multiple enemies or hostile forces, you might, the chances are that you might just be fighting against the wrong crowds, in the wrong place, wrong time. um, and have you took the bait in exactly the way, you know the say the say the dark forces acting behind the scenes want you to, that says, I've always suspected as much, that someone better that wicked woman, that wicked banshee, to continue to wish me ill, to continue to persecute me, and to this day, as we speak, since the time, the day my old man kicked his the day my old man, you know um kicked his um the day he kicked the bucket, I wasn't at the scene, I wasn't there where he where he exit exited his life. So I can only, you say, suspect and speculate based on what I know, based on what I have, to come to some judgment on my own, since I have no one, to actually give me, you know practical, you know um say any practical and tactical advice as to, how to deal with that wicked woman with minimal losses and taking a minimal amount of damages, and so far, unfortunately, I've taken quite a lot of damages and sustained heavy losses, casualties, heavy casualties, you know, in terms of people, manpower on my side, unfortunately. Um, but yes, I guess the silver lining is I can still access the global interweb, you know, and come here and and give you guys some sort of a real time update on my current circumstance. Yeah. Um, what else? So yeah. So um, yeah. Yes. Another example. I don't know if you guys watched the film The Godfather. You know, say Joey, yes, Joey Zaza. Joey Zaza, was just he was just just a puppet, you know someone else used, to say to assassinate, to murder Michael Corleone. um say say he, if you can recall, the yes the heli yes the helicopter hit, and fortunately, yes, his nephew, saved him, thanks to his, excellent combat skills, um and agility, and yeah, and authentic masculinity, yeah. Of course. um so yeah, the proxy wars, they occur, quite, widespread, quite nowadays on this planet. Unfortunately, all those, I suspect that at least, more than half, more than half, if not close to 90% of all, modern day, all um of all contemporary wars that occurred are pretty much, was, say, instigated, by the slave, I guess, by the slave masters in America. Though I have absolutely nothing common American folks, since, a lot of, you guys, are actually from the, from the states, and and frequently watch my videos, and frequently, offer me a helping hand, so, but still, overall, yes, I see American most American people, my friends, though, um the entire population there still encompasses loads NPCs, but still, that saying also applies to Asia, to say, to France, to Belgium, to to Japan, to China, to Korea, blah blah blah. Since most people are NPCs, though they are not necessarily all brain dead NPCs, but a lot of them, like I said, don't even care, don't even bother to take a minute or even 5 seconds to question what they are being told. Yeah. What else? And yeah. Yeah, and yes, I tried to get in touch with PCGS, regarding, regarding my, my coins. I trusted them, to grade. They just did not answer the phone. Yes, I ran them. I rang. Yes, I phoned them at about, say, Yeah, 3:40 to 3:50 p.m. at West Coast time, say Los Angeles time, um, California time. But all I heard, was just their automated, um, their automated voices, you know, that that told me to hold the line. Yes, I held the line for nearly 10 minutes, and as you know, I have run terribly short on funds, so I can't really wait for them to to attend to my phone call for that long. So I just had to hang up, and and ring them on on another day, at another time. So yes, so if you guys say, um to those of my viewers, my subscribers, and also beloved patrons located in America, if you guys could you know um apply some pressure to PCGS to return my antique silver coins, I'd appreciate it. Since I can then, like I said in my in the post I made earlier, I can exchange them for some less expensive silver coins, and maybe well, if you guys, I beg your pardon, if you guys would like, maybe you guys can have some. And on the other hand, I can then sell sell some for money, or just sell the more expensive ones, sell the more expensive one for money, for some money, and then buy some other things, buy some other sort of collectibles, to yes to to diversify my range of investments, yeah, and learn more along the way, and then have something more more fun, more interesting to share with you guys, once I begin to master the knowledge and the skills more pertaining to numismatics and blah blah blah. Once my savings once my savings begins to recover, I can then afford trips much further, not just to Hong Kong, and say to the surrounding countries and regions. But if God willing, with more yes, with more money, I can then, and with you guys help, I can then travel to more, to further to further e- um, e- exotic exotic you know countries and regions, places of use, and bring you guys more quality videos, and more more fascinating insights into the life, into the life into the lives of say a typical digital nomad bum like me. Yeah. um yeah, but so yes, I am this video is not exactly a video say asking for more business, for more businesses or blah blah blah. But instead, I just like to to make the best use of the of you guys kind um patronage, since I used you guys patronage to to buy myself a proper meal for lunch several hours ago. So I guess I carry the duty, the obligation to at least you know make the best use of the of my the food you guys sent my way, and and not let it go to waste. But still, yes, since ambient um, heat is rising, so I guess I will just stay online for this live stream, maybe for just another 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes tops, and then I would just need to roll back to my bedroom and cool my body. Hey, just give me a sec. Let me switch on the aircon. Let me switch the aircon back on. Give me a sec. Yeah, I'm back. Beg your pardon. Wipe my hands, lest the moisture damages my headset and hence the microphone. Yeah. Oh, damn. So according to my clocks, it's currently 11:37 p.m. at U.S. West Coast, and early in the morning at 7:37 a.m. at London time. So yes, yeah, I kind of got a bit of glitches in my brain for a minute. Yeah. So maybe next time, in my next videos, I shall then talk more of food, about what I tend to have for food, and my my own nutritional regimen, or say recipes. Although I don't really cook myself, but I'll just for now name them my own nutritional regimen or recipes. Yeah, but still, yeah. Basically, yeah. for for those who would like to improve their the looks of their skin. My advice is that you consume more tofu, or more beans, specifically more soybeans. Though maybe someone said, maybe soybean could somehow emasculate you, or too much soybeans could somehow emasculate you by lowering your testosterone, blah blah blah. But it's at least in my case, it doesn't. So I guess you don't have to worry about that. And on the other hand, yes, of course, keep yourself, stay hydrated, stay hydrated yourselves from time to time, so that your skin cells don't don't lose its their their natural um natural elasticity and natural textures. Yeah. And but yes, I guess it's fairly, say, in my humble opinion, for us men, it's fairly easy, to improve and maintain our looks, than than what women have to do in order to to look young or stay young. Since they have to spend a lot of money on expensive makeups and, say, supplements, blah blah blah, so that they so that they don't lose their beauty too quick. So yes, I guess at least men, we have such innate or intrinsic advantage when it comes to when it comes to improving and maintaining our looks and youths. um, since all we need, in order to achieve that, to achieve that simple goal, all we need is um, you know good and decent decently healthy food, and 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 abundant supply of clean H2O. Yeah. Um. So so in case you guys don't have any questions or doubts, to get clarified, um, you know, then I suppose I have talked quite enough, I guess. Um, so yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on the latest um, developments of my situation, and the the statuses of my surroundings, and and of course, uh, my 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 life lifelong voyage and adventure of becoming and staying far from weak. So yeah. So until next time, if God's still willing, stay out of trouble, stay out of trouble, and more importantly, or if you know, or equally importantly, stay far from weak. Um, so take care. Cheers. If God's still willing, see you around on YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, buymeacoffee.com, blah blah blah. Next time. Cheers. Have fun. Stay safe and bye. Amen.